When Wild Hearts was first revealed, the common reaction was that this game is a Monster Hunter ripoff. This game is very obviously inspired by the Monster Hunter series, but it has some very key defining features which sets itself apart from its competitor. In this video, we are going to cover a few of those features of Wild Hearts, which creates a whole new experience. Like most Monster Hunter-esque games, there is no class system. Instead, your class or combat style is determined by the weapon you have equipped. Wild Hearts is no different. There are 8 weapons to use in the game, with 3 of them being unlocked slightly later in the story. These weapons, at face value, are simpler to use than weapons in Monster Hunter. Each weapon follows a builder-spender playstyle where you spend most of combat generating your weapon's energy for it to then be spent on big attacks or for new attacks to be unlocked. This resource management is generally much simpler in Wild Hearts compared to trying to manage something like your Charge Blade files. This isn't to say that combat is boring by any means though, because of the core feature, the Karakuri. Karakuri is the building aspect of the game. When looking at some of the initial gameplay, the building looked like it was a gimmick, but it's really not. The way combat is designed in this game really requires players to utilize this building aspect to take down the different monsters, also known as the kimono. I know I said resource management is simpler for weapons, but that's because you now have to manage your Karakuri thread, which gets used to build these basic Karakuri. You can equip up to 4 of these different tools to aid you in combat, and each one has a different cost to build, and that means that you're going to have to watch how much thread you have, because if you run out, you're going to be kind of shit out of luck. Like I said, a lot of these monsters are designed with the intent that you're using these different building structures, so if you're just refusing to use them, you are just kind of kneecapping yourself. And I found this out very early on in my play experience, where I was trying to play the game almost like it's Monster Hunter. These Karakuri can be used for both offense and defense. The building aspect has actually made for some insane moments that you don't quite find in Monster Hunter. And when that building finally starts to click for you, it just feels like combat is really opened up and there's a lot of skill expression available to players. Moving along to our next section, I want to talk about the weapon trees. Similar to Monster Hunter, weapons have trees with branching paths. The big deviation from Monster Hunter is the inherited skill system. As new weapons are crafted down the tree, a few skills can be passed along. This allows later weapons to have skills better suited for your desired playstyle. Something else I find interesting about the weapon tree and skill system is weapons will sometimes have skills specifically enhancing your weapon's features. For example, the Bladed Wagasa is a parry weapon. One of the skills you can acquire increases the parry window, allowing you to have an easier time successfully parrying. Now, to expand slightly on the skill system in both weapons and armor, some of these skills are locked behind what I'm calling an alignment system. You'll notice some armor pieces have a stat which is influencing a bar at the bottom of your Armor Forge screen, and these stats influence whether you embrace human or kimono technology. As you enter one alignment, you unlock more powerful skills tied to that specific alignment. Moving on to our next section, your hunting grounds and how you navigate through them is something I found confusing when initially playing Wild Hearts. As you explore a region, you gain access to what are called dragon pits. These provide you with resources to craft various things called dragon karakuri. These are different from what the basic karakuri you'll be using in combat, and instead these type of karakuri are a permanent world fixture that helps in just various ways. For example, you can craft a tent in a very central area of the map. These tents function as quick travel points for you to more easily explore and hunt kimono. In addition, you can set up 2-way zip lines to more easily travel terrain, and it's just really interesting how every hunter is probably going to have a different setup for how they're exploring the map. It's really like when you enter a new area, it starts off as a blank canvas for you to explore and deploy different traversal methods. It really makes the map feel wild and unexplored. Our final feature is maybe more of a lack thereof. The one aspect that I think helped define Monster Hunter is the inventory management that came along with it. Before you went to hunt any elder dragons or tough monsters, you wanted to make sure that you were well stocked on the necessary potions, potion crafting materials, buff items, and any ammo types relevant to your weapon. There isn't really any form of inventory management in Wild Hearts, but there is still gathering. The items you collect mainly get used as ingredients to make buff food items, which increase your health and provides additional boost to other stats. There are no items to track for the 2 range weapons available, so if that's something that you enjoyed, you won't find that here. And that's going to wrap up the core differences I found between Monster Hunter and this new IP, Wild Hearts. I'm still in the process of completing the game, but I've thoroughly been enjoying myself and I keep learning new things I can do with the Karakuri each day. It's a lot to take in, but the combat has been absolutely fantastic. I've got several videos in the works related to Wild Hearts, so if this is something that you want to see more of in the future, consider subscribing to my small channel. And with all that said, this was GooberTroy saying thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.